The master swordsman's son refuses to learn swordsmanship unexpectedly, but insists on using a mop handle as his weapon. The family saw me as a joke. Little did they know, I easily defeated my older brother, who had studied swordsmanship for 10 years, with a single strike. In my past life, as the invincible gun king, it's all because others struggle for 20 years and still can't fully infuse a small knife with magic. But I can effortlessly infuse a 2-meter-long spear to prove to the world that guns are the strongest weapon. With my own strength, I ended a century of war and chaos. Due to my accomplishments, I drew suspicion from rulers. Thus, I had no one to continue my gun skills. Now, with my memories reawakened in this new life, my talented older brother, who has been practicing swordsmanship for a decade, constantly targets me. Regrettably, I follow the family rules for the challenge. In front of my father and many nobles, I dueled my older brother. When it came to choosing weapons, my older brother undoubtedly chose his best wooden sword, while I, in front of everyone's eyes, picked up the nearby mop, kicked off the mop head, leaving just the stick. Everyone laughed and slapped their thighs, because in this world, it was a top-tier weapon, and the only 5 master-level knights, including my father, were all skilled in using swords. Even cannon fodder soldiers in battle despise using guns. Seeing my father's skeptical gaze, I insisted on using this. Then the formal competition began, and my older brother took a big step forward. But he ran into my stick head-on. He tried to dodge and counterattack with a sword. Sadly, he didn't grasp the importance of every inch. The mop handle struck his arm first. Once again, I sent him soaring. If I had used a gun instead of a stick, he would have been pierced through. He cheated and gathered magic power to attack me. Father angrily shouted, trying to stop it. A burst of energy fluctuations erupted in the hall's center. After the smoke cleared, my brother's wooden sword was shattered on the ground, but my mop handle remained unbroken. My brother went insane with jealousy and attacked me with his weapon. I realized this was a great chance to make a name for myself in one battle. Another clash of energy occurred. In the end, Father intervened and ended the competition. The master level pressure made it impossible for anyone to move. The angry older brother also calmed down at this moment. The knights next to me were shocked when I could use magic at the age of 9. Even my brother's fiancée noticed that she could see through people. If only she could marry this young master. This angered my older brother, making his face turn red. And I also got to meet my father alone. In my father's hall, he straightforwardly said he wanted to teach me swordsmanship personally. As one of the 9 Empire stars, my father's swordsmanship is ranked in the world's top 5. Learning swordsmanship from him is a dream shared by countless geniuses. But without thinking, I quickly refused. My father explained that with my magical talent, just using a mop handle already had such power. With the ancestral divine sword and swordsmanship, I would definitely become one of the 9 great stars in the future. However, I firmly insisted on using a spear as my weapon. But this choice to embrace decadence angered my father. The master pressure resurfaced once more. I was already using all my strength just standing there. Let me see how strong your belief in the spear is. I exerted all the potential of this body, confronting it with the epic pressure from my past life. Finally convincing my father to let me take the test of the Royal Knights. He will allow me to practice spear and use all the family's resources to cultivate me. But if I fail the test, I will obediently learn swordsmanship from him. I quickly agreed, but I forgot that the Royal Knights have a good relationship with my wicked stepmother. I heard her son was defeated by me. She directly slapped a guard in anger. She cannot accept that her genius son, whom she has nurtured, was defeated by a bastard child. She then asked the guard if there was any good solution. It turns out that Wei proposed the test for the Royal Knights. This reminded the stepmother of a relative she had over there. As long as he can establish a good relationship with the examiner, he can definitely ensure that I fail the test. After considering it, the stepmother contacted her relative. She asked her second uncle to trip me up in this assessment. On the other hand, I was awoken early by a knock on the door. When I opened the door, I saw a redhead. If I recall right, yes, this is the arranged marriage set up by father for my brother. She is the daughter of the Empire's wealthiest person. He said he wanted to come to my room and talk about some taboo topics. But I didn't want that useless older brother to bother me again. So I went straight to him, told him to get lost, and slammed the door to kick him out. The redhead girl has never been treated so poorly before. She returned to her room solo, embracing her teddy bear and sighing. Her mind filled with images of me pushing him away. News of the redhead girl's bullying quickly reached the older brother. And in order to stand up for his fiancée, he challenged me again. Originally, I couldn't be bothered with him, but when I considered not subduing him, more things like this would happen in the future, so I decisively started a fight with him. With one punch, he couldn't defend himself. While attempting to block with his sword, he was already gravely injured. To save face for his fiancée, he used his trained sword. But he was still knocked down by my punch, flying 2 meters away. Lying at my feet, he grasped the difference in our strength. I threatened him, warning him to stay away. After, I rushed to prepare for the Royal Knight's assessment. My wife was bullied and I couldn't get her justice. Big brother cried in frustration. At that moment, the examiner's convoy arrived. Originally, my stepmother's second uncle oversaw the exam. But because the emperor heard of my magic awakening at 9, he arranged for the fourth prince to be the examiner this time. When I saw this future king from my country, my fists couldn't help but crackle, making it impossible for me to meet someone like him, who burns bridges. The royal knights quickly formed a formation, disregarding the prince's luggage. And the knights of the duke's mansion also took out their weapons one after another. But it was my father who appeared and calmed down this farce. The prince, evaluating the 9 stars' faces, did not force me anymore. The assessment in my heart started now. The prince chose Knight Zoko, a B-level knight, to fight me. Although he is not the strongest in terms of strength, he's unquestionably the cruelest towards newcomers. When I saw his father and several other knights who were going to fight, their solemn faces, and Zoko's weapon mocking. It was an iron rod, and he covered his sword with magic power with a sinister smile. Just as he was about to attack me for disability, as ordered, I nearly hit him with a stick. In the rushed defense, Swaku instantly broke out sweating. We exchanged a few moves. He no longer underestimated me and exerted his full strength directly. Using my marksmanship advantage, I slowly subdued him. If this keeps up, he's definitely not my match. His eyes flickered, gathering all his magic power. He tried to strike decisively. Limited by his 9-year-old body, I couldn't completely defend against this sword technique. I stepped back and coughed blood. As the move worked, Swaku attacked once more. Madam has ordered to prevent you from ever accessing money in the future. Don't blame me later, young man. Suddenly, a powerful surge of energy engulfed the entire venue. I shook Zoko and sent him flying, while the true appearance of the iron rod in my hand was revealed. Lu Chia, the king of 10,000 guns, returned. Despite the scene, Swaku foolishly attacked me without regard for his own life or death.